Now
Usually
it's stopped.
yeah, I see it as well. Okay, good. Thank you. Good. So when I plan the classes sometimes months before I teach them, and I planned this one, I don't know, like 2.5 months ago. So I just said this will be a class about cases, and then in the meantime, I realized that Jacqueline has some really amazing cases from the Haiti clinic, and we've always had really wildly amazing cases at the Haiti clinic. And I want to explain to you why. It's because people there are still more in a natural state of health and vitality. So the way they react to the potencies we give them is more like 100 years ago, what we see in the books when we read the old books. Because, okay, and this is actually quite an interesting point. So they have epidemics, they have internet towers, but actually electricity is gone basically 23 hours a day. No electricity, so no electrical fields, no, or very, the bombardment of the vibes through the air is not constant, let me put it that way. Very simple food, very minimal, bare bone type living. And a lot of the people until relatively recently had no or very few vaccinations and no or almost no pharmaceutical treatment, right? So when we see children, they may be entirely untreated, or they've had like maybe one vaccine. And the old type diseases are out in the open. We know people talk about that they had gonorrhea and syphilis. We know who had tuberculosis. Whereas now it's like nobody will tell anybody in the family if they had gonorrhea or syphilis. I mean, just try. I've said this before. And nobody knows if anybody had tuberculosis anymore. So the whole miasm thing is, how can I say, veiled or blurred, right? Whereas in Haiti, it's completely out in the open, and people have not gone through a million of chemical treatments. And so when we treat them, the results we're getting are very, the results are immediate. I want to say and extreme, but it's not extreme. It's like what you read in the old books like 100 years ago. It's just we don't tend to get those anymore now, here, where we live. And so I thought it would be very cool to look at some of the cases from the Haiti clinic. They're very good teaching cases, in part because of what I just said. The first case is very, very nice because you can see the progression from one remedy picture to the next, mostly with one dose of 200C. The very clear new remedy picture emerges, which is what we read in the old scriptures, not a lot of repetition or no repetition, like one dose finishes, one impulse will finish that layer and it will be healed. And then also, what is very nice in that case, you can already, at a certain point, and this happens sometimes, that you can already say like, oh, now the top layer is this, but I can already see the next remedy that will come after that, right? It's like a see-through layer. I can already see the layer underneath that, which sometimes, if you have two layers, you can see this layer, this is the topmost, and you can see the layer underneath. Sometimes, if this remedy is really powerful, it will relieve the organism so much that this layer will disappear by itself. It will also already be taken care of. Or something else happens, something throws the organism off and it actually becomes something different from what you thought. You can't be sure. You can't mechanically say, okay, I'm giving you this now, and then 2 months later you take the other one without talking back to, without us checking back. But so this is a really, really beautiful case. And we can also learn about new things about remedies we know and new remedies. And we're not entirely clear how we're going to co-present, but let's see. At this point, I would just like, and these ones, I sent this to you so you could have it up on your screen or print out or refer to it later. But yeah, he kindly typed out the cases for us so we can follow along. Okay, over to you.
Good. Hi, everyone. Good. So I think we're going to present a few cases, but what I want you to be aware of is, first of all, before I even start, how many of you did actually read the first case and the first remedy? Show of hands. If you did not, okay, good. If you did not, can you take? Okay, good. So it seems like most of you did read the first one, because I was going to ask you, when you see in the first case that I give, they give calcarea carbonica, I just want to find out how many of you, just by reading it, say that, wow, that was easy. By a show of hands, it was not easy, right? Okay. So I don't know if Julia did study calcarea carbonica with you, right? But it seems like that was a perfect case of calcarea carbonica, right? So before I start that case, I just want you to know that as I'm going through the cases, there are two things that I want you to think about, okay? To really see how easy homeopathy used to be, okay? It was.
Sorry, let me just interrupt. Michelle, you're right. I forgot you. I did it last night late and I forgot you on the list. I'll send them now. Like while he's talking, I'll send them to you. Sorry.
Yeah. So how easy homeopathy used to be. All those natural remedies, they all used to be easy. We just watch our parents or our teacher doing it, and after a few years under supervision, we just take over. Natural with no effort. And by doing that case in Haiti, you're gonna see how natural it is. Why is it so difficult now? Okay. I just want you to be aware of it. Okay. Homeopathy, flower essences, okay, and even spiritual meditation. Why is it so difficult now? It used to be so easy, okay? So we have to really think about all those three pillars that our beings depending on, which is the intellect, which is the intuition, which is the wisdom. What did we do with the wisdom and the intuition? We always work on the intellect. And that's the reason why it's not working well in certain countries and it's working well in other ones. I don't think in Haiti they have a lot of wisdom, but that intuition, they really know how to use it really well, more than the intellect. So that's why it's so easy. Michelle can really talk to you about it. When Michelle and we went to Haiti, we were not so advanced in homeopathy. The only person who was the expert in homeopathy was Julia. Okay, she just spent a few hours, explain us something, and then after that we went along. But Michelle can tell you that. Why? It's because it was so easy to see those people in Haiti, their physical body is talking to them. Nowadays, our physical body can't talk to us. The moment we have a headache, we go to the computer, we just say headache, and the computer gives us 20,000 symptoms why the reason we have headache. We're going crazy. We can't talk to our physical body anymore. That's why those things are not working. Okay. If we wake up in the morning, we feel sad, we put it in the computer telling you 20 million reasons why we are sad this morning, you know, and then we can't really talk to our emotion and our spiritual part. Then if we don't have those two, how can we develop wisdom? Okay. So therefore, I just want to talk to you about those three things to know that why those people in Haiti, within a few days, you know, they having cyst, ovarian cyst going, just go away like that within 3 days before going to see the doctor, and 3 days before the doctor actually see it, and 3 days after the doctor say, no, can you come back in 2 weeks because there is something wrong with my machine? Okay, why is it like that? It's because those people have that we call those things. They don't really have only the intellect. Some of them probably have none of it a little bit, but at least they have a few of those pillars. So we have to think like that. So us, if we want to rely on homeopathy and flower senses and meditation as we're getting old, we must always bring those three into place. Otherwise, no matter how many times we do those activities, it's not gonna work. So I want to start with like that. So when I go to the cases, so you can see the simplicity of the cases, and probably mostly Michelle can relate to that because she used to be there. How she just put one needle in somebody and the person just get out of the whole state of mind they were into. Good.
Sorry, that's a very good question, Michelle. Did you also feel that people reacted much more direct to acupuncture than in, say, New York?
Yeah, can you hear me though? I feel like my mic's now. Oh, good. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was so shocked that, you know, I could press one point just with my hand or needle it, and the headache would be gone, or the pain would be gone, or, you know, then I get back to New York and I'm like, well, I see these people for every week and they still come in with the same things, or it's a little bit better, then it's worse. You know, I mean, it's just incredible.
Right. And the old teachers also say that the biggest culprit in our disease is the intellect, or our mind creating obstacles to healing. So this, which is why in the hierarchy, healing the mind is the most important, you know, dissolving all of that. So
yeah. So as we go into the cases, you're gonna see at the end, you students, your goal is not only to really study and we put them in application, but also to this is the biggest challenge we have, to make sure those three pillars are always there in our life. Okay, don't let especially now with the AI coming up, artificial intelligence. If it was really good one, they would have called it artificial wisdom, intelligence, intuition. They would have called it AWII. They call it AI. It's still missing those two. As long as it's missing those two, use it, but with question mark, okay? Because we are born to have those three pillars all the time. Wonderful. Good. So the first case, it's about a girl of 22-year-old, and she came to the clinic. And I also have to tell you that it's very good to know also how the technique is working, because sometimes I don't really think that we really using the technique we used in the old days. So those few students that I have, not only are teaching them, but I'm giving them supervision. Because nowadays, the blockage between the student and the teacher, even as a spiritual teacher, is the money issue. Because the money issue, the student can't afford to spend countless time with the teacher, right? Because they don't want to spend that much money anyway, okay? But over there, because there is no money issue, as I'm teaching them, they're getting access to me all the time. So within a short time, the information is just part of their psyche or part of their brain. So I just want you to know that supervision is really, really important in the whole thing. Don't think because we're high on intellect, just by listening to the class once or listen to the teacher once or twice, and we think we got it. It's not at all. You're getting the wisdom of the teacher by listening to that person over and over again. I've
Right.
never,
That's why in the olden days you used to live with the master, as the apprentice. You would spend 3 years every day, all the time. So this is how the old model was.
exactly that. And the perfect example of that is me with Julia. I'm in electrical engineering. Okay. I didn't study herbs at all. All I did was living with Julia for 10 years. I'm not even, I barely open a book when I'm going to teach the material. Okay. That's the way it used to be in the old days. You just listen to the person. Okay. And at the end, you get the wisdom of the person. We call it, this is what we call the wisdom in our culture. Okay. Just by listening, we don't know how it's happened. But when we're talking, it's like the person's talking in our head. We can't explain that technique, but that's what it is about. So therefore, all those cases we've been really supervised over with those people in Haiti, and now it's like second nature in their mind. So it's very good to put that in mind. The technique it's been created a long time ago, and all those been created for a reason. So don't think all of a sudden we don't need supervision. It's part of the process. It's been part of the process. Okay. So wonderful. It's a young lady, 22 years old, and she came to the clinic just because of itching. She has a problem of itching, and then the skin is giving pimples and pus, all those things. Okay, and she came to the clinic because she's a young lady and she's really
So
depressed.
pimples and carbuncles. Carbuncles is like little grouped little abscesses, and it's actually an infection within the skin. So you can see her skin, and what this one isn't lacking, and you'll see that it doesn't matter, is the specific skin eruption repertorization, where you go like location, color, itching, and all of that. But what you'll find is that I say that all the time, that very often focusing on the details of the pathology, you miss the essence of the remedy. So I looked at this case, I was like, oh, cool, they didn't even really repertorize the skin eruption, which is the chief complaint, is why she's coming for, but they found the right remedy.
Yeah, because they are the first year, and the only thing I'm training them is to detect the remedy just by listening to it, which is the keynote, okay, the portrait of the remedy, okay. So I'm teaching them because they're Haitian, they really they're learning by intuition, by showing them, okay. So therefore, I'm just showing them the picture of Calcarea carbonica. I repeat 20 million times that a Calcarea carbonica love eating eggs. I repeat it 10,000 times, over and over again, that the Calcarea carbonica like a flour, breads, they like sugar. I'm repeating over and over and over again that Calcarea carbonica have fears of roaches, of rats, and so forth and so forth. Repeating it over and over again. Now, even in their sleep, they know what Calcarea carbonica is in essence. So therefore, when you are in a place like Haiti or any other place where the person is healthy, if the person is Calcarea carbonica, right, and it gives you that portrait, you can cure anything if the person is quite healthy. From
Right.
anything.
So it's like if you have the constitutional picture, then no matter what the pathology, it will be healed. Well, I take it back. Maybe, I mean, I don't know anybody who teaches vulneraries as much as me, except vulneraries. You have a chopped off foot, it's not going to grow back from Calcarea carbonica. So you use whatever you need for that, so, But yes,
Definitely.
so
But
don't get lost in focusing on small pathology.
so that's definitely that's the key here. Is the portrait of the remedy. No matter where I'm at, you're gonna see my picture, my portrait, and you're gonna say this is Jimpa, this is Jacqueline. So it's the same time, the same way when we're presenting the remedy like that. It doesn't really matter. You will see the remedy, except as Julia said, in
Right.
acute, right? Something else.
So
Right?
the essence of calcara carb is craves the most, like really craves sugar and eggs, fear of rats and mice, perspiration. So now they're not saying perspiration sour or cold perspiration. That would be the highly specific one. And once you have those things come together, it's like almost the person would have to prove to you that calcara carb shouldn't be given. You know, you have that, it's like case closed.
So that's exactly that. So as we're presenting the case, okay, and this is the beauty of talking about cases, because there's a history behind it. There's an energy exchange behind it. From 2 days on, you won't ever forget in your life that calcara community love eggs, they love flour, and they have those kind of fears. You won't ever forget it, because there's a big energetic interaction going on between you and I about calcara carbonica that you won't ever forget. So that's why it's so important. And even I'm still not convinced that people are gonna watch the video after and they're gonna get the same effect that you're getting now as I'm talking about it. It will take years to prove that. You still need to listen to me and looking at me in real time to get what I'm saying and to whatever again. Julia and I, we took the Master of Homeopathy 1 year after studying. They make us work over 8,000 cases online.
Sorry, it was 3 years. It was a 3-year diploma.
For the master? For the master. Because the master, we always watch cases. We didn't.
You mean no? That's postgraduate. Yeah, that was 1 year.
The postgraduate, the master. That's why I said the master part we got, right? We watch all those cases online. Okay. Very important cases. I forgot all of them probably. I don't know if Julia, right? But however, the one we went to Alonissos every year and we spent 2, 3, 4 weeks, listen, they never went away in my mind.
When we were studying with the master and we were sitting there while he was treating people. Yeah, it's true. Like those ones you'll never forget.
So it's very good that we're connecting those things to our mind to make sure we're sending our mind. This is the way we're supposed to learn. Okay. I'm still will go to YouTube and watch a couple of things after I learn the basic. But it's very good not to forget the basic how to learn. Okay. So therefore, we won't ever forget that case of calcara carbonica. So she came, she just had eating problem, right? You know, body itching, and she's really a young lady, and she can't go out, she can't go to party, she doesn't have boyfriend because of that, because the face, everything is just like that. They ask those simple questions: how do you sleep? On the left side. Do you have high perspiration? Yes. Okay, usually calcara carbonica has perspiration, but cold perspiration. They didn't even bother to ask her if it's cold or if it's warm, all those things. Okay, they say, what do you like the most? She say, eggs. All the time? Yes. Anytime? Yes. Fry? Yes. Soft? Yes. You know, it's a wow, you know. And they say, what do you fear? And those Haitians, when they're really talking, they're really energetic because they don't have any shame yet. The kind of shame that we have, you know, it's like, are you fear of rats? She say, no. You know, it's like if the rat just pass around the corner, it's not my friend. You know, all those expressions, because in homeopathy, whenever we portray a remedy, all the symptoms we give, the high degree symptoms, right? So therefore, with the person expressing those symptoms, you don't even need to ask how much. You already see the person say, no way, I don't really get along with these animals. So therefore, you don't need to really speculate to know, is it that, because you know the person we'll really share to you. So with those combination, okay, Jean, he just let me know that this is what's happening, and he said that can I give calcium carbonica? So this is perfect. You can close your eyes and give calcium carbonica. But I want you to really see that case, because at the end, there's a lot of things that are gonna come up in this young lady's life that did not come up in the first session. But why? This lady has been raped, she's been humiliated, you know, and all those things. Why it didn't come up in the first session? The body was talking. The body was saying, please remove this first, you know. And of course, in Haiti, everything is free. They come, you can speak for hours and hours and hours, right? But she didn't mention the other one. After that, I'm telling you, after months after that, when Stafazia came up, I said, Jean-Louis, how did you miss Stafazia? He said, man, I don't know. She never mentioned it. She said, I have my notes there.
And this is the old technique that Hahnemann said, is you work with what the person is spontaneously presenting, because that means that's what's the uppermost layer for them.
Yeah. So therefore,
the degree comes out in the intensity of the speech. You know, here you say to somebody, do you crave eggs? Silence, intellectualization on the inside. Yeah. So then you don't know. Then you have to ask how much, when, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's like non-intellectual people, they say, yes, you know, and that's what he means. It's like that they say, yes, tells you it's a high degree. They really like eggs, you know. So working with people who are not intellectual really helps, makes the life of the homeopath a lot easier. Celia?
I didn't hear what he said he missed.
The future remedy Staphysagra, it'll come. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
I thought he mentioned a symptom or something I didn't hear.
No, he didn't.
I did not. I said that, how did you miss those remedy that was gonna come after? He said, no, I totally missed them. A lot of them, we totally missed it. And in the second and third session, I was part of it, and also they all were gone. They will not come to the surface. And why? It's because there was a direct communication. The lady was in direct communication with her body, and the body was speaking. We must be able to develop that. Okay, now for you guys to develop those access, those natural access you used to have to your body and emotion and mind, you have to pay a lot of money and a lot of workshop on weekend and all those things to develop those simple things. So that's what I'm saying, as we go into the cases, please put that in mind, to say, oh, this is our goal. We have to keep those gifts that we have, right? So after seeing this, we say, oh, calcaire carbonica is the best. Okay, so we give calcaire carbonica. See, and now as I'm talking, you guys, if you did know those specific thing about calcaire carbonica, would it be easy for you to give calcaire carbonica? Right? It would have been easy for you to give calcaire carbonica, right? So we give that. Really nice. And then we give calcaire carbonica 200C. And Jean-Louis give it to take it once a week for 3 weeks. Once a week for 3 weeks. This is his own technique that he used to prescribe. Usually we give 1 dose or 2 doses, but he decides from what he's been observing, he said this is what he wants to do. This is what he's getting results for. So that's what he did. So after 3 weeks, and the person have significant improvement, the itching goes away by 50%. Okay. And of course, 1 or 2 days before, 2 days after, of course, the lady did have activation. The lady really texting him and say, wow, the pus is getting more and more, the things getting more and more. And he took time to explain to the lady, it's part of the process. It's part of the process. Put up with it. Suffer. The more you suffer, the better. And that's something else that we lose. We lose the ability to suffer. Okay? And the lady was super happy because I taught Jean-Louis, I said, just ask the person, how is her energy? How is her feeling? How is emotion? As long as those things are high, therefore it's okay. The impulse, they keep coming, the pulse keep coming. And the lady understood that and she was quite happy. These are the things we don't find anymore nowadays.
Right. I mean, that was part of every single traditional medical system, the idea that things should come out of the body in whatever form, you know, that the disease has to come out. And we don't have that in modern medicine anymore. And so when you're working with people in more traditional societies, they still expect that. They want the waste products or the toxins or something, or the bad spirits, or they want something to come out of the body. So for them, if they're told like, oh, good, it's coming out now, let it come out, it's like, oh yeah, they can be happy with it. Whereas like in an intellectualized society, you're going to have a lot of trouble.
Yeah. So that's why listening to the case, it's not only just solving the case, it's not only knowing the remedies, because that's what we taught years and years. Studying those techniques is also studying our own body, speech, and mind to know how we behave. Because part of getting old is suffering a little bit. It's part of the deal. There is no reason why we stay one day in bed. Because we can't work for one day. It's a big deal, you know. Now I'm really retired. I can be happily staying. Last week, Michelle was talking to me. I said, I can't believe it. 5 days in bed, suffering with a backache. Wow, you know. And then now I'm just get up on my back and put myself in the cold water. You know, it's okay. It's okay. It's part of the deal. We are living beings. We are part of nature. So why can't we be sick for 5 days? Big deal, right? So therefore, yeah, this lady, even she was still having pussy faces, all those things were coming to her face. But all of a sudden, the remedy was so good, she can go to school. That's beautiful. She's she's still having those, but she feels that she's beautiful. That's what she did tell Jean-Louis. She went back to school now and she started to learn again. And she found out also her memory was better because she couldn't really retain and calcium carbonica also has that, okay? So these are all those sidekick that come with the calcium carbonica, a lot of things that. And then all of a sudden, is that the part, let me see, she told, no, it's not. Yeah, I'm confusing that one because there was one where the person said, "Oh, by the way, the cyst also gone." No, it's not that. Okay. So therefore, then Jean-Louis said that when you're gonna come for the second session, she said, "Oh, I'm taking exam. I have to finish the final, then I will come." Okay. Then the next session was scheduled 2 months later. Okay. Then we can see the picture in the second session where the skin starting to really a little bit better, you know, and they start to really heal nicely. And she was really quite happy. Okay. When she came for the second session, right, she was quite happy and talkative, have good confidence, and the itching start to heal, and the itching really gone, the continuous eating. And that's the time. That's what I didn't really. She told Jean-Louis, by the way, I didn't tell you about that in my first session because the itching was the main concern. She said, I did go to the doctor and I had ovarian cyst and it's gone. Okay. So Jean-Louis said, how do you know it's gone? She said, I know it because I don't have because they always come with the period cramp or abnormality of the period or a lot of the things that come with it, and that the continuation of peeing, urinating, everything, they're all gone.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, it's very simple for a doctor to do an ultrasound to see the cyst and to see it's gone. That's what I'm assuming. In the old days, a good, well-trained doctor would have been able to palpate, to feel the cysts on the ovaries with their fingers. And one big keynote symptom for calcara carbonica is lumps and bumps. So in the old repertories, cysts would go under tumor. Tumor does not mean cancer in the repertory, but like a mass, a blob somewhere in the body that's not supposed to be there. And these doctors were super experts at palpating, you know, because all the imaging technique hadn't come yet. So they needed to hear everything with their ear or to feel it with their fingers. So they knew exactly where there was supposed to be which bump in the body. And they would immediately feel if there was something that wasn't supposed to be there. But we only know now that something is a cyst because of ultrasound or maybe MRI or something. We can see that it's fluid filled. So in the old days, we didn't know it was fluid filled. So it makes total sense that she received calcara carbonica based on keynote symptoms. And although she had mentioned that she had lumps and bumps on her ovaries, they were cured anyways.
Yeah. So during the second session, she was talking, and then Jean-Louis told me that at that point, you know, he feels that there's another person talking to him. The person has changed, right? And for us, it's not a big deal to see a different personality into somebody, because before that she was not talkative, and all of a sudden she just like, wow, it's like talking loud and laughing and jumping and everything, you know. And he said when he saw that, he started to say, well, maybe there's another remedy coming. Let me ask her a couple of questions, right? And because during the whole thing, I think she mentioned at some point about a vengeance, right? And then Jean-Louis asked her, do you hold grudges? He said, no, I don't really hold grudges against anybody. Then Jean-Louis keep asking questions about fears, and she said, oh yeah, I remember. I'm still fear of water that I see if I cannot see underneath it, and and then when I'm taking a shower, I can't really keep the water too much in my face, and yeah. I forgot to tell you that last time, but I don't sleep without a light on. It's just part of my life, and then I can't really wear tight clothes. Okay. And then based upon that, Jean-Louis was really okay. I have an idea.
So I think what really happened is the following. I can't be sure, but I think that he noticed she was very loquacious, and he's thinking, what are the top 2 remedies for loquaciousness? It's lachesis and stramonium, you know, and that he started to ask confirmation questions about that.
Yeah.
And that here there's a sentence that Jean-Louis is the one who says, I overheard her talking to somebody else about the fact that she wants to get revenge about something, and that she wants to kill, that she wants to be a sniper.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting statement for a 22-year-old girl who's in school, you know. It's like,
that's what she wants to do, right? And then when this happened, Jean-Louis said, wow, there is something there that we don't know what it is. So maybe the stramonium, because also she feels she has some fear of snake. We don't really know where this one is coming from. And when Jean-Louis talked to me, we say, oh, we have to remove that layer. And it's very good to know about that. Even though, and I had another case where the person is pure phosphorus, okay? Pure phosphorus. We have all the indication. But we had that things of stramonium that can't sleep, nightmares, sleep with light on. And we had to take a good half an hour to talk about it. Should we go ahead and remove that mental obstacle before we go to phosphorus? So at the end, you say, yes, let's remove that.
Yes, and the answer is because of the hierarchy in healing, you go to the mental first. And you don't go to the healthy mentals like, oh, person's happy. That's not a symptom you treat. But nightmares is a mental symptom that's negative that you should treat first, you know? It has
Yeah.
to be addressed first. So, sorry. So this is the moment in the case where you can see the two layers, right? So you have keynote symptoms of stramonium. You have a full stramonium picture. The stramonium picture is full on the highest, most important level, mental, emotional, with nightmares, needs to sleep with the light on, fear of dark, murky water, can't tolerate the water running over the face, and lachesis and loquaciousness. And so the other, usually when you see two layers at the same time, they share some symptoms. So the shared symptom here is loquaciousness between the two of them. And then what is lachesis, but not stramonium, is fear of snakes and can't tolerate tight clothes on the body.
Yeah.
So the discussion was then, so which one to give first? And Jean-Louis said, understanding that stramonium, I mean, Haiti is hell on earth at the moment. So for every single person in Haiti or in the city area of Haiti where it's really not peaceful, you have to consider one of the shock remedies, right? So it's very likely that whenever there's a conflict in the layers, you give the shock remedy first, right? Which here, ailments from fright, stramonium, you give stramonium first. And the picture is more complete on the more emotional, mental level. You have more keynote symptoms of stramonium than of lachesis.
Good.
Oh, also desire to kill is also stramonium, you know? Yes. Back to Jimpa.
Yes. Can you still hear me? Right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
So, because I can't see. So therefore, we say that, oh, there is some lachesis coming, and also there is something that because they're a young girl like that, can't all of a sudden say she wants to revenge something. There is something like, but when I ask her, she can't talk about it, right? So we will really say, wow, we got to do the stramonium technique so we can remove that layer and see what's gonna come after, if it's gonna come clearer. So but you can really see how the client give us that gift of really seeing the layers clearly and give us that clearly gift to say, oh, go for stramonium first. What I'm trying to say that we must, as clients, even as students, we must keep putting attention to ourselves, okay, to make sure that when our body is sending the message, it's sending the message very clearly to the person who's helping us, right? So then we
So sorry, let me just check at a moment. Do you all understand clearly why in this toss-up situation stramonium is the right choice?
that's a very good question.
It's because the mentally deranged symptoms are the most severe. In any case, amongst all the symptoms, mental derangement is the most severe in the hierarchy. And the mentally deranged symptoms here, wanting to go out to kill and nightmares, is part of the stramonium picture.
And can't sleep with those pens, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and we need to sleep with the light on because otherwise the nightmares come, you know.
yeah.
So that is why, you know, you need to understand like the real reason why.
And also something extra that she said that one day And that could have really make us go toward laxatives, but we did not. She said that one day she was going somewhere, or I don't know, to school, and she saw a snake. Okay, so she was scared and she went away. Okay, but
Mm.
after that, she went to bed that night, and she had such a nightmare about that snake. Okay, and she was so shocked that the next day she couldn't really walk properly. She was totally in shock, like she was possessed, because in Haiti we relate all those things to devil. That's our way to deal with negativity. They had to take her to church, pray on her, for her to become normal again. So you see how the strong fear of snakes come into the picture. But then, of course, at that time, when Jean-Louis told me that, I know there is something of raping that was coming in the future, that while this thing was coming, but it was not coming out of her yet. So we said that we talk about it, we know it was coming, but we
Mm.
say we have to remove stramonium first
Mm.
for the other one to come. Okay?
So for this case, I also want to remind you that stramonium is one of the rape remedies, and that for a woman who was raped by a man, fear of snakes, I mean, Dr. Freud would be so happy about the symbolism of that, you know, so we should also remember that.
Yes. So we did that, and after 3 weeks, and she's super happy. She's her skin is totally clean. She says she see that I feel beautiful, and then she has no nightmares, and she can sleep in the dark, and but she's trying to talk a little bit about the abuse, how where she's staying, because she's not staying with her mom, she's staying with her aunt, how that she feeling being abused by the family. Okay. And then Jamie said, so why don't you come after when you're free again? She said, oh, I'm taking exam now. I will come a later. Okay. And after 2 months, she come again. Okay.
So I also want to interrupt. So we see that if you give the right homeopathic remedy, it's not just symptoms go away, the whole person's life goes back on track. So here's a 22-year-old girl. She doesn't have a job, and she has so much itching and skin eruptions that she can't function. She can't go to school. The moment she starts to receive the right treatment, her whole life goes back on track, and she's now happily going to school. She can do her work. She can pass her exams. So this is also something that you want to see, not just focus on the pathology, but the whole life is supposed to come back to balance and harmony.
Yes.
And happy, creative, spiritual function.
Yeah. So the remedy was bringing everything back into balance, physical, emotional, and mental. Okay, that's the beauty of it. But with us, homeopathy can do that only if the client really give us that gift. Okay, and us as clients, even me, sometimes when I'm sick, I can't really take up my own case. I have to talk to Julia or to another friend, homeopath, to really give up, to really, so that they can help me to find a remedy. We have to keep taking care of our body, speech, and mind. So when those things come, we can give the body access to talk and not keep interrupting the body with nonsense. You know, I'm doing it all the time with nonsense. When my body's trying to say something, I'm hiding it. It's like it's second nature for it, because we're good with intellect. But we have to keep saying to our whole body, we more than that. We give our body all those powers, especially in the moment of sickness, to talk. Let the body talk. And like that, our homeopath will love us as clients, you know. So she really strong. She comes back for another session. This time, she still can't wear tight clothes. She's still scared of snake, right? But all of a sudden, she doesn't have a boyfriend, right? She's saying that I'm really jealous. I'm really, really jealous. It's in my head all the time. And Jean-Louis say, but excuse me, but how come? I mean, you're not even living with your mom, and you don't have boyfriend. How do you know you're so jealous? She said, I don't know, but I know it, you know. So all of a sudden, because the jealousy was so strong, and this is the kind of thing that we want. You know, when the body's speaking, the lady doesn't know the intellect. When we trying to tell her that why you're not boyfriend, and you see how she's cutting to the intellect with us. She said, I don't know. I don't know, but I know that I'm jealous. I don't have boyfriend, but I know that I'm jealous. Her body speaking, her body is taking over her mind and her intellect, everything to really talk. So we say, wait a minute, that's the only thing she's talking about. And then at that time, she also revealed that when she was 16 years old, somebody raped her with gunpoint. Somebody pointed a gun at her and really raped her, really, really. And she said that it was since then that she have scared, and she clearly said that. I don't know how this is how the intuition works. She clearly told us maybe that's why, and she talked about the snake in the dream. Okay, now she talked about what the snake was trying to do in the dream. The snake was actually trying to really sleep with her. Okay, and then in our culture, if you have dreams that a certain animals like that trying to do something with you, we call it, oh, the spirit of the land is come and give you some power, whatever the spirit. We have different spirit of the land that when they want to come and give you power, they come and take the form of the snakes, right? So therefore, all families say, oh, this is very good dream because you seeing snakes, that means you're gonna have power. But no, she said no, at that time she felt that is because she was raped. That's why she had that dream. So you can see how her body was also interpreting the dream, even though Jean-Louis and I, we saw way before that it was gonna come.
Right.
So yeah.
And she yeah, and she can also now see, now that stramonium addressed the shock and abuse, this is often then people can start to really talk about it, while they're still like so let me say frozen in shock from the abuse. They can't talk about it so much. It often comes afterwards. And here I want to just point out the Lachesis features: fear of snakes, second highest in the whole materia medica; jealousy, highest amongst the two top remedies in the whole materia medica; can't wear tight clothes, the highest in the materia medica. Just based on those three, you can give Lachesis with confidence. But she's also loquacious, very high loquacity in Lachesis. We said that before, that was a shared symptom. And the revengefulness, think of a snake striking, you know. So in a negative Lachesis state, the person can lash out. There's a degree of aggressivity and lashing out, like a cobra that strikes at its victim, right? So Lachesis is the bushmaster snake, and that's definitely the kind of hunting snake that stalks prey and bites extreme venom into it to kill it and eat it. You know, it's not a peaceful snake. So
yeah, that's exactly, you really that's exactly a perfect picture of Lachesis, the portrait of Lachesis. And it's very good that if you can listen to the video again and take pause, so you can really get the picture of the remedy when Julia talking about the picture.
Maybe I should talk a little bit more about it. I don't think I've really talked about Lachesis. So it was proven by Dr. Herring. Dr. Konstantin Herring was a German homeopath, and because he understood that we get the best homeopathic remedies from the most poisonous substances in the world, he said, I will go to Latin America, where I hear you can find the most toxic snake in the whole world, right? So I don't know if it's true, but this is what I heard, the story as it was passed down from my homeopathic teacher. that him and his wife, and this is like probably 150 years ago, so imagine the wife in the Amazon jungle with a long dress, down to the ground, are somewhere in the Amazon rainforest trying to find this elusive, super toxic snake. And, the natives are already thinking this white doctor must be totally nuts, that he wants to definitely meet the snake that's so terribly lethal. And they managed to catch one. And, you have to milk the venom. You have to press the teeth into the vessel so that the venom comes out, because he needed the venom to preserve it, to make the remedies out of it. And the vapor was so toxic that he passed out, and so after some time, I don't know after how much time, he regained consciousness. And supposedly the first thing he said to his wife was, "Did you write down my symptoms?" It's like, because he would have been proving Lacaze's symptoms. And my teacher at the time, Dr. Rudy Ballantyne, said history doesn't say if his wife said in that moment, "I'm filing for divorce." So there was probably clearly a very big conflict of interest in that moment. So, but all Lacaze's remedy nowadays supposedly still goes back to that one batch that Herring got from the jungle. And it is one of those snake poisons, like snake poisons tend to be, that causes huge hemorrhage, right? So there is a very, very strong, the moment it gets into the bloodstream, everything decays. There's huge nephrotic tendencies. The heart freaks out, the lungs freak out, because heart and lungs work together, and there's internal bleeding, or also bleeding from the orifices, and the victim dies. So, so there's a tremendous state of stimulation as the poison enters the system, and the victim goes insane. I mean, you can imagine a little mouse or whatever, like starting to run around like crazy and chirping like crazy, or whatever the sound is that a mouse does in English.
Squeak.
Squeak. Okay, squeak like crazy. Not a chipmunk. Okay. And squeak like crazy. And so it's like everything is becoming hyper, right? Everything goes hyper. The blood circulation, the heart, the voice, so, and that all going towards very strong decay. So that's a picture of Lacaze's. And we know the keynote symptoms is loquacity, the kind of loquacity where the person, general loquacity, but also specifically the kind of loquacity where the person goes from one topic to the next. So that means the mind is slightly unhinged. It's like, I want to talk to you about tomorrow and the party, but actually my mom yelled at me, and shouldn't we eat chocolate pudding? And what do you think about me buying new kitchen closets and blah? So it's like hopping from one topic to the other is very typical for Lacaze's, what in Ayurveda you would call deranged vata or deranged wind energy. Then there is this cannot wear tight clothes. It's like, so a Lacaze's person cannot tolerate like a cloth around the neck like I have right now, and wants everything very baggy. And which last time, so in Chinese terms, last time we talked about yin and yang deficiency. So you can see that there's a yang access situation here. So cannot tolerate pressure, right, Michelle? So it really makes total sense. I mean, that's one of the reasons also why I love alternative healing and why I love homeopathy, because you can bring it together with the other traditions. It's not like, it's usually taught like it's this island, and all the other systems don't relate, but they do. you know, if you can just understand it correctly. And then there's this tremendous fear of snakes, which does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? So yes, that is a short portrayal of lachesis. There's a lot of heat symptoms and a lot of hemorrhage symptoms also with it.
Yes. Yeah, that's a beautiful portrait of lachesis, and it's very good that us students of homeopath, we spend quite a few time to really get the portrait, and it's very good to develop that skill of knowing the portrait. It's a skill, you must develop it, because once you develop it, the moment the teacher will talk about the portrait, you cannot get it.
Mm.
And then the efficiency behind it. And that's why you have to convince your mind. You know my portrait. Nobody can tell you it's not true. Nobody can tell you this is not Jimpa now. Nobody can tell you a picture, send you a picture and you say, no, this is not Jimpa. If you know the portrait of the remedy, when the remedy comes, it will be like that. Nobody can say, oh, it's not that, it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, because you know the portrait. And that's why it's very good for us to develop that skill. Okay, very, very important.
And so just to remind you that the more people are still unspoiled in their vitality, in their organism, the clearer the remedy picture will be. And the more they've been through the medical system with all these different intravenous immune globulins and cortisone and stuff, with all this masking and distortion and suppression that happens, the less clear the remedy picture will present itself. So once you know that about lachesis, I think it's very clear now why Jean-Louis said, I think with the help of you, that said like, okay, so now let's give lachesis, right?
Exactly that. And also, so we give lachesis, right? And then he say for 3 days, 1 dose a day. Okay, so the Haitians tend to repeat things a lot, and they seems to have success with it. And because he clearly tell me why he needs to do that, and sometimes I say that, oh, maybe we need to do that as well. Repeat those things over and over again, especially for us nowadays. We expose all those. You want to say something?
So at the clinic, they don't have higher than 200 C. So this was such a clear extreme lachesis case. We could have given 1 M or 10 M, but they don't have it. So then you can instead give 3 days in a row, 200 C.
Yeah. So yeah. So 2 months later, no. So after 1 month, she called. She said everything is fine. Happy that he's back. She's putting on weight now, and her hair is coming back because her hair was starting to fall. And she said, I feel I'm beautiful now and I have a boyfriend. And my clinic is totally clear up. Okay. And then she cut contact because she was doing so well. Okay. Then 2 months later, she called Jean-Louis, and she's starting to have a lot of fears because something happened to her, or somebody was trying to steal her handy phone from her. So it was a shock. And then she's starting to have fears, But this is the time when she said that I'm having fears, but I just want you to know that the doctor also confirmed that the ovarian cysts are gone. Right? So at that moment, when she had that, and then she came for a consultation, and Jean-Louis was not quite sure what's happening. Then I had to he called me, and I started to talk to her to find out what is the next remedy. And then as I was talking to her, and she was giving different things. And then when I tell her that, can you go over again about what happened to you when you were 16 something at? And at that moment, I mean, don't forget that because this was a lady who was full of vengeance, gun to kill somebody. At that moment, I asked that question. She just put her head down and she started to cry. That was the end of the session for me. Jean-Louis wanted to ask more questions. I said, no, 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 that's enough. The moment somebody goes that deep, that's enough to give the remedy. It's like she was so ashamed, so humiliated. And I said, no, she's not ready to talk about it, and that's enough. And at that moment, I decide to give her the Staphysagria. And I gave her Staphysagria 10 ml, just built upon that part of that.
So I just said they don't have 10 ml at the clinic, but because of all the rape cases, I made sure that one we do have. I mean, like arnica and stuff.
That was one thing. We make sure we have our own arnica
Yes.
and so
Yes.
yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So we gave her 10 ml, and then I think and that's something I just want to hear your feedback, guys. For 1 week, she kept texting to Jean-Louis, and she said that I'm feeling I'm leaving my body. She said, I'm in class, I'm sleeping a lot, but I'm constantly feeling that I'm leaving my body. I'm leaving my body. Okay. Then after 3 weeks, she said,
so let's put the question to class. So imagine you did that. You just had this lady. She's 22. She was raped at the age of 16 at gunpoint while she was living still with her family who was abusive. And it's coming back up now. You give her Staphysagria 10 ml, and then she has, as the reaction, the feeling she's leaving her body. What is your reaction, thoughts, interpretation?
She's disassociating as she did when she was raped.
How do we call that?
Amnesia?
No, we have a word for it in homeopathy.
I forget.
Retracing.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it. She's retracing, right? So it's like good sign. So it lasts several days. She got a 10 ml. Remember how 2 classes ago I showed you this one case where somebody had Netmure 10 ml, and like in waves for days and days and days afterwards, new waves of retracing symptoms came. So yeah, of course, we're not going to expect here the kind of sweet, short retracing with the 200C. That's just 24, 48 hours. So here it's like, yeah, this is completely within what we can expect. So very good sign.
yeah. So after a few weeks, she calls. She's really totally fine, and then that's it. She has not been in touch since then. But Jean-Louis check on Facebook. She's showing a picture now. She's going to party. She's taking pictures with friends, boyfriends. Like her whole life is really open. So that's the end of the story of those 3 remedies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you also see here how like there are 2 shock and rape layers. First the stramonium and then the Staphysagria. So we see that a lot, that it needs more than one remedy to clear a layer, and that the second remedy, the Staphysagria, took it much deeper, right?
Yeah.
So what I want you to enjoy in this case, and you have the write-up, is the layers, how you can really so beautifully see the layers coming. And you can already even look ahead and think, oh, I'm suspecting that X, Y, and Z layer is going to come, and it does. So that's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also to see how
And none of the remedies were specific to pimples or carbuncles, but it cleared up anyways.
Exactly that.
We never gave a remedy for the ovarian cysts, but they went away.
One OA.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
They
Exactly
were
that.
accidentally covered by the first prescription anyways, right?
Yeah, after a few cases like that, the student in Haiti now they almost believe that whatever disease, the first thing one needs to do is to remove the shock. It's like a religious thing for them now. They have to, they're trying to find out what was the shock, what was the shock.
Yeah.
Until the shock is removed, they can't even touch
Yeah.
the
Right.
stuff.
So you have a population where almost everybody has been involved in a shooting, held at gunpoint, raped. I mean, it's like you don't have anybody who hasn't been seriously traumatized. And they see this a lot. Like, so there's a lot of aconite also, that they just treat the person for the shock, like say, give aconite. They come with tumors or like serious pathology, and they just simply treat the shock. So this would be susto in your system, Jacqueline, right? So they're treated for susto. It's called saisissement, like the French. I was gripped. And then they heal from the shock and they come back and, oh, by the way, their tumor's also gone, you know? So that's what we learn in homeopathy, why I kept saying to you, no, we treat, no matter what's happening in the body, we treat the emotional mental problem first, right? And they discovered in Haiti, if they treat the acute shock trauma level, that the body just spontaneously goes on to healing. Jacqueline?
This is a broad question, but I'll try to narrow it. So I'm treating a client who fell, and she doesn't know if she has a fracture in her pelvis or her femur. They couldn't see it. And so I've just been treating her, kind of just supporting her with different modalities. But one of the things that I noticed is, beyond trying to go to the issue of the possible fracture, after a couple of times of treating her, I could see in her eyes the shock, and I could feel it. And it was, but she couldn't see it or feel it, but I saw it, because after a couple of times of treating, it began to come out. And so, so just like, not asking for what to do, but this can happen even when you are addressing a particular issue. You know, so you can treat shock after you kind of meet the organism of the person, the symptom of what they need, and then the shock can start to release, right? Possibly.
So let me just phrase it differently. Like, I remember one of my clients, she had been hit by a taxi crossing the road in Manhattan, right? And she said, I remember being outside of my body, watching my body fly through the air and making several loops before landing, crashing, and having multiple fractures, right? So if this person comes and I'm like, vulneraries, but so you have two injuries here. You have the injury to the soul of this shock saying, I'm dead, right? And such a fright of threat to the life that the soul exits the body, and you have broken bones. So now, according to homeopathy, the fright injury is more severe. So just in case that's the correct one, I would get aconite first, because she can just lie there with broken bones for a couple of days and then follow up with something like Symphytum, right?
Yeah, this client has her own knowledge. So one of the things that
Yeah, that makes it more
Now it's more complicated because the intellect is like,
Yeah.
he
Yes.
wants to have a participation. Initially, a couple of times ago, it's like a month and a half ago, you know, she really wanted arnica. And so I gave her arnica. You
Which
know,
is all right. You know, it's for
Just
shock,
wonderful.
for emotional shock. And with fractures, there's always bleeding associated in the surrounding tissue. So it's like, that's an okay thing to want or give at that point. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
gave
hurt.
her that. And then the second time I saw her, which was maybe a week ago, you know, she's also like still wanting to participate, but she's like come back a little bit into her body. And I really moxed her body. She couldn't stand up, you know, so I just began to deepen the heat. So her vitality began to, you know, be supported. I
Yeah.
did give her a item at that point because she's still like, it's the bone. And so I just found myself doing the best I could with meeting her too. But one of the things that I did bring in, I didn't think of aconite, but I was doing more
Yes.
frequency work.
No,
so-
no, I'm just saying, for
Yeah.
instance, aconite and maybe anyhow. So that's why we're saying, like, the biggest enemy in the healing package, as we talk about it, is the intellect, you know? So we have another example here. Yeah, Celia?
Yeah, I worked with someone yesterday for the first time. She's incredibly bright, intellectual. She, you know, she works with the foundation doing all this stuff. And but she fell and broke her tibia 4 months ago, and it hasn't healed. And I mean, I wasn't working with her homeopathically, but I threw out that I felt that symptom was what she needed. But now that we're speaking, and she's had this incredible issue of losing her home over and over, and she's very, very, very shut down. But her father was, you know, she's very privileged, you know, coming from a very wealthy, obviously sort of gold standard family, probably living on Park Avenue when she grew up and so on. So what began to come out, but without any emotion, was how her father would violently beat up. There were 4 girls, and he would beat one of them up once a year or so. But came up. It was so violent that at one point she made a mistake about their boat key or something, and he beat it. He threw it to the ground, and he was throttling her, and you know, very extreme. Of course, this was all without affect at all. She didn't show any emotion. And her sympathy was about, he had been in the war and he had seen pictures of Buchenwald and so on. So, you know, she's very cut off from her own. Anyway, so she's not an easy person to connect with because she's done a huge amount of work, but it's all here. You know? But so I immediately thought of symptom at least to begin healing the bone. But from what we're saying, would aconite be something for her to take first?
No, I said only if it's the right one for shock. From what I'm hearing, I don't hear aconite as much as maybe stramonium or
Yeah, now I'm thinking
even for the suppression apnea or something like that. I don't know.
yeah.
That was just an example.
But
saying aconite.
But she needs symptom too, because the bone is not healing.
Yes, but you can also give her calc phos as a cell salt while you give the other remedies. You know, I mean, the symphytum isn't the only way of making a bone heal. You know.
Yeah. So for me, this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example where you guys must really think that supervision is the one of the main key of learning.
Yeah, no, I mean
what you really want to say here is I need supervision. Okay.
Yeah.
Then once you have supervision, you're gonna see the wisdom of homeopathy flowing into your mind like the river flowing into. Okay, supervision is really, really, really important.
Oh yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, 85% of the work coming from supervision. This is how I got it, and this is how I'm expecting other people to get it. You can't bypass it. So your really question is, I need supervision on that case.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I didn't take
And
it up.
whenever those cases come, we must have the wisdom
Mm.
to go for
So
supervision.
one thing I can maybe say, I did that a few times with Michelle, is you can ask her to have a session with me and sit in. So we're
Yeah,
both
I was
taking
thinking
it together. So
Yeah.
so that's a good way of getting supervision, you know. So
Yeah.
It's, ve-
that is a
it-
possibility.
it's
Yeah.
very important because I did that with the Haitian people for like maybe 3 months. And now that's it. I don't need to do them anymore. It's only when they have some very, very difficult takes as interview.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying how important to do the supervision as
Yeah.
part of the whole
Mm.
thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that her whole system was reduced by EMFs and all kinds of things, and she lost her home. And you know, it's I was thinking as we were listening to all this, I have to refer her to you. I don't know if she's, you know, she's if she would be resistant, but she's very open to alternative medicine. So that's
Yeah.
very, yeah.
But it's good to know that this is how you're gonna get your
Yeah.
wisdom. This is
So-
how you're
so-
gonna get your level.
So you
It's
can
about
also
close to you, huh?
phrase it less like you're referring, as in you're going with her to me to get input.
Yeah. If she's open.
Okay, let's put this to the side because
Yeah.
the time
a
is
lot.
running. Let's take a short break of 5 minutes and come back for the other two cases, which are very, very nice as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Sorry, that took up time, but it
that's
followed
okay.
Jacqueline's.
Yeah.
It's fine. That's good. Okay.
See you in a bit. Okay, everybody, come back. Come back, come back. Jimpa, come back. Probably turned off his mic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So, case number 2.
Yeah. Case number 2.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Case number 2.
The mute
Yeah.
girl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So case number 2 is really a wonderful case because I think this is the second of third case because Jean-Louise, a wife, she's working, not volunteering for a non-profit organization where they're taking care of handicapped, retarded children.
She's a nurse. So
She's a
we are
nurse.
also at the clinic in Haiti. We're also training Dani. She's a nurse and she works with handicapped children, which in Haiti they are throwaways. Nobody wants to. There's no structure to help handicapped children, even if they're intelligent, and nobody wants them. So she's really the only one who will even. And nobody even wants to treat them medically. So she's the only one who will say, like, okay, I will give them a shot at educating them, at taking care of them, and at treating them.
Yeah, and since she's trying to bringing homeopathy into that school, I think we had so far 3 cases that it was unbelievable where the children couldn't talk. I think we had also a case of a little girl, Pulsatilla, who also had the same problem, and all of a sudden, and then everything went back to normal. So I'm really also surprised that we're having cases with things like that because usually um, uh, if really Julia talked to you already about level of health, people who are retarded, who can't talk, who can't really learn, we really put them on the low level of health, which is almost impossible to treat people like that, to reverse a process like that. Okay, so therefore, pay attention to that case to see why is it possible.
Sorry. Yes, I was going to say, like, no, it's like you don't know their level of health until you see if it can improve or not. There was good vitality in the background of the handicap if suddenly they can start to really develop. And I am so happy this case, when I founded the Haiti Clinic, one of my big motivations was to treat the children, because I said they're the future generation. If they go from here into a full lifespan with total shock and trauma, that's very bad for the Haitian society. So let's really heal the children the most, kind of, to give society a chance. So, and we will see that play out in the next 2 cases a lot. And this is also why I'm so militant almost about wanting to treat every child with homeopathy, because you can take away the obstacles to their development in an unprecedented way and allow them, give them a chance at grown-up life, in life, that is mind-blowing, compared to not being treated and having to take all of these limitations into adult life on all levels. But yes, so here is this girl, 6-year-old girl, and she can't talk.
Yeah, exactly that. And sometimes I even say to myself that sometimes, also as a healer, if we did have the possibility to say that free homeopathic consultation for children. Because if we really, when we shift the children at that age, it's like we're helping the whole society, right? So it's very good to think like that, to really make people aware that how important it is to really treat children with homeopathy naturally at the beginning. We can't convince mother to do that, but it's too bad. But otherwise, every mother was supposed to at least once to really let their children being exposed to homeopathy, friends and everybody. That's why sometimes I say if we say it's free, then they can come and use it for free. And that's it. That's the best service we can do to mankind, you know. So yes, let's going back to homeopathy and please focus on the remedy, right? And how we find the remedy. And the key was that how we find the remedy. Because all those people in Haiti, they don't have books that you guys have. I don't even teach them how to do repertory now because they don't have books, right? So I'm just giving them a few keynotes and portrait to be able to cover that. And also among the Haitians, you have to keep repeating things over and over again. It's only by repetition they learned. They're not really like us, very advanced just by reading something and they remember it. So this is the case of a 9-year-old little girl, and you can see the first picture. You can see she's not really normal the way she's looking at her eyes, just looking at a little bit. You can really see there is something going on there. They didn't really document that case because we didn't know, because we deal with those children all the time. So most of the time we don't think we're gonna have a result like that. So this little child come. She just comes so they can give her a little bit of vitamins and so on, so she can really be better, right? But we didn't think that she was gonna have a big shift. She couldn't talk at all. It's with Jack of Society. She spent like 3 years in the same grade, so they kick her out of school. That's why they bring her to Danny. Okay. Then Danny talked to me about that case. She said that, oh, I mean, can we do something about it? No, we have nothing to do, we're just studying, and it's good for me, for Jean-Louis, to really experience with those children for homeopathy. So I say, oh, we have nothing to lose. They brought the child, and then we asked a couple of questions. So it's very good that the first thing that we looked at, very important, is the shy. She was really shy. Okay. She was hiding behind her mom, you know, and she didn't want nobody to see her, right? So that was the first sign. Okay. The shyness was really, the being shy was really extreme. Okay. Because you can really see that's what we're looking for. Okay. In cases like that, we're always looking for the extreme, anything that is extreme. Of course, it's difficult for us in those advanced society to see those extremity because we're not raised to show all those extreme part of us. But in a culture where you can see that, it's really like it's like a gift. So the child was really, and I think with children, most of the time, you can see the extreme part of children. So observation when it comes to children is very important. The moment we give a session to children, spend more time on observation than symptoms and taking notes on those things.
Yes, don't just, I mean, a child like this comes, 50% is what the mother says, but 50% is your observation. Because the mother may also, in her mind, embellish the state of her child. She may be so used to their strangeness and their tics that she doesn't see anymore how abnormal it is. So with children, your own observation is super, super important.
Yeah. So that's a good one. If she's really shy and she likes bananas, right? So you can really see the class that Julia taught about food desire, how important it is, and how important it is among the Haitian. The first thing they ask, what do you like? And they spend the time to find out what do you really like, what you don't really like. You know, it's like you can see they really attach to their food things. So they put that in consideration. So in all the session, the first thing they ask you, what do you like and how you sleep, something like that. They're looking more observation and really those symptoms more than headache or backache or whatever. It's not that important for them. So that little girl really like bananas. She like meat. She like beef. She like milk, and she like eggs. Okay. And as you can see, I put 2++. Sometimes I put 3++. I don't know if you integrate that to the class yet.
I'm starting to emphasize about it more. It's the degree, you know, to the second degree to the third degree. So it means the symptom is very strong.
Yeah. So it's really important to know that. And she really likes cats. Okay. And sit position, she sit on her back, and she sit also on her belly. And then as we were talking, we found that the mother had tuberculosis when she was pregnant. Okay.
With this girl.
With that girl. Okay. So therefore
Stop. So what happens in all of your heads right now with that information?
Yes.
We have a Maya.
Matthias? Yes. Say it again.
Miasm,
Yeah, which one?
tuberculinum.
Right. Tubercular miasm, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it should be in the back of your mind going like, ah, so
Yeah. And I want you really to think about that case really nicely, because even me, after solving that case, I see that what would happen if I did start the other way around. So I want you to guys pay attention to that case really well, so we can help me sort that at the end. Because in our system, okay, the moment we have that's the bite carbonica.
yeah, we didn't talk about it yet. Sorry, let me just take over for a moment so it goes, because I know what they know and what they don't know. So the mother had tuberculosis, so you're supposed to now start to suspect tubercular miasm. One of the main remedies, or the nosode, is tuberculinum, but it's not the only tubercular remedy. So now the next sentence is typed wrong. It's not, they did not treat the tuberculinum, but they did not treat the tuberculosis. So she didn't receive tuberculosis treatment while in pregnancy. I don't know why. I'm assuming so that the fetus wasn't damaged. And the child was born, so the mother had active tuberculosis. And when the child was 2 years old, they found out that she couldn't speak at all. So, small recap for tubercular miasm is that tuberculosis is an extremely destructive disease. It attacks and destroys the tissues, you know, the lungs, leaving holes in the lungs, the bones, but you can have organ tuberculosis anywhere in the body. So there's a very strong destructive aspect. The correlation of that on the emotional mental level is a breakdown in emotional mental sphere, as in being retarded. And you can see in the photograph, you know, in this photograph, you can see, I mean, these are not the arms of the girl. The arms are here, right? You can see in her eyes and how she's holding her hands that she's retarded, right? So you really have the miasmatic effect was very severe. And in a culture like Haiti, you have open tuberculosis quite a bit, you know, so basically everybody or most people's organism has had a small infection at some point that's encapsulated, calcified away to be safe. But it's probably she got the miasm not just from her mother, but from the ancestors before, which is why the mother had tuberculosis. She was already sensitive to it. And most likely she also had it from the father's side. Frankly, it's unthinkable that the father should have a whole line of ancestors that was free of tuberculosis or tubercular miasm. So we have a very strong miasm manifest in the girl now.
Yeah.
One thing in the back of your mind is like thinking like, what were the signs and symptoms for tuberculinum as a tubercular miasm remedy now? And yeah, I'll go over that in a minute. So back to you.
So, so the sign, the symptom from tuberculinum is the desire for banana, the relationship with milk, and also the relationship with cats. It's either they have a positive effect with cat or negative effect with cat.
Yeah, it's more likely they have fear and aversion of cats, but they have very strong fear of dogs as well. So that's that fits tubercular miasm also. Tuberculinum, but that's not the first remedy you gave.
No, that's what I'm.
Right.
That's what
So-
a challenge for the class.
So
It's always a challenge for the class to see why did we do that.
yes.
So we know Barita carbonica is a special remedy for immature children. Okay, really shy, no self confidence, depending on others, right? And
Delayed in development.
yeah, everything is delayed. And they can't absorb things easily. Their memory, they can't. Everything is weak.
Like
So
mentally really retarded, physically
Yeah.
retarded, crippled in their growth. So this is the
Yeah.
remedy. Barita carbonica is barium of carbon. So there's also a relationship to Calcara carbonica, which also has to do with delayed development. So the delayed development remedies, the top three are Calcara calcphos, Barita carb, and Natmio. So here you have in Barita carbonica, you have very severe. So it's like children who are dwarfs, people who go on to be a dwarf, you know, working in a circus to show off that they have a tiny body. I mean, this kind of very, very serious delay in development. So, and if you get a child like that has dwarfism, you treat them with Barita carbonica, they start growing, you know. So it's a very powerful remedy for that.
Yeah, so because I learned it like that, so at that moment, I had to really do some gymnastics with my mind because for me, there is a clear case of tuberculosis right there, and yet I've learned that with a case
No,
like that,
so I debate you now. So
yeah,
what are the mentals of a tuberculinum child?
that was my question to the class.
Mm.
Okay, what pushed me to go to Barita carbonica?
Do you remember
and-
a tuberculinum child?
Can the class answer that?
Do you
Before
remember?
I-
Anybody remembers?
Aggressiveness.
That's
Yes.
it.
And overexcited.
Super
That's
aggressive.
it. You got it, Matthias.
Aggressive,
Let me give you a
destructive.
kiss.
So
Good thing.
again, like what's happening on the physical level, the destruction goes to the mental level. Aggressive, destructive, not shy at all. And so the fear of dogs and the shyness. So grinding the teeth is more tuberculinum, but the shyness and the fear of dogs are Barita carbonica, and then tuberculinum would hate cats. So this child likes cats. That contradicts tuberculinum. So we're trying to make you see that if you analyze, if you have both symptoms, again, here we see two layers, right? Tuberculinum is there, but it's not the uppermost layer right now. You go and you look at the emotional mental situation, and the emotional mental situation, that kind of gaga delayedness with shyness, low self-confidence, fear of dogs, and liking cats, which contradicts tuberculinum, and no aggression, is like Barita carbonica must be the top remedy. Does that make sense? When we present it like that, can you see it now? Mm-hmm.
That's the beauty of studying cases. Like, I really think this class.
And sorry, also desire bananas. That's Barita carbonica. There's only two remedies where the kids keep on wanting bananas. Sorry, am I confusing it now? Yeah, no, it's Barita carb and Theridion, right? It's tuberculinum is bananas. Okay,
Yes,
sorry.
Yeah.
So I confused that, but never mind.
Yeah.
So that's what she got.
Yeah. So I want to say to you now, this is the beauty of studying cases, because as far as I'm concerned, this class today is a master class. Okay. It's not an undergrad class. Okay. Because just by studying the case, they introducing to you one of the most difficult concepts to understand, the concept of layers. Okay, it's come years and years after experience, and now in just a case, she's presenting you those layers nicely without you not even know that you actually are taking a master class now. Okay, this is the last thing they taught us, to understand between layers, and now you really understand it. Why did I go to Barita carbonica? Okay, it's just because they didn't have that aggressivity. Any other people will go to tuberculosis.
Yes.
Okay?
So most homeopaths in the modern world, the ones that are trained like by cliche, they would have started to clear the miasm, but it's not the uppermost layer, and they would have probably caused the child to become aggressive by giving her tuberculinum in the wrong moment.
Yeah, because even when you put it in the machine will give you tuberculinum as the best remedy to give at that moment. That's why I say to you, don't really go. Or we got to have those.
That's why I say the right remedies in the top 10. It's like, so don't go with the remedy that comes out just point wise on top. That's not necessarily the right remedy. It's more like food for thoughts, the top 10.
So I had to train Jeremy at that moment to say that no, you go for, even you have more symptoms for tuberculinum, but you go for Barita carbonica, and we gave Barita.
Sorry, and also then she wasn't. It says here the age is not compatible with her height. What it really means is like she was too small for her age, which fits with dwarfism. I can't say it. Anyhow, you know what I'm trying to say. Dwarfism. Yes. So she received the Barita carbonica, and also, the mutism fits more with shyness, not with aggression, right?
And don't forget, this little girl couldn't speak.
Oh, sorry. There's another thing. Keynote symptom is, I would say that the way it's written up here, under the photograph, it says shy 3+. What it should really say here is hides behind mother. That is a rubric with 2 remedies only, and shyness hiding behind mother, or maybe 3, is Barita carb, stramonium, and pulsatilla. So again, it's like you're landing square on the right remedy if you know that is a rubric. Right.
So we gave Barita carbonica based upon that. Okay, but we didn't really expect that it was gonna do that effect. After 3 weeks, and she's starting to play with children because she was not playing with children in classes. She's starting to sit with children. One day, she called her mother by her name. Okay, when she called her mother by her name, the whole neighborhood, it's like they have nothing to do. Now they found something. There is a miracle in the neighborhood because this child didn't open her mouth for 9 years, and now she's shouting her mom name so everybody can hear. Okay, so that was the whole thing for the whole neighborhood. And then the next day, she's shouting the neighbor's name. It's been all along. This little child was memorizing everybody's name, but she couldn't really say them. So that was the first experience of her talking, is that calling people's by name. The timidity, the shyness is gone, and now,
After 3 weeks, Dani observes that she's starting to take on the personality traits of tuberculinum.
yeah, she's fighting with the other children. She's bossing everybody. Why? And she's not hiding behind her mother. And she's saying to us, "Oh, can we see that little girl again? Because we're having sign that's impossible." But she can say people's name, but she couldn't really have conversation yet, right? We saw the case again, and at that time, it was with no doubt that we should go to
Tuberculinum.
that's it.
Yes.
Really. Because the only thing that was missing is the fight, is the aggressivity, and now we have it come right there. Okay, so we didn't have 10M, so we gave 200C, but that's the time probably I would go for 1M, something like that, to something. Yeah. So the result after tuberculinum, the start to speak, she start to develop, her breast is coming out, her hair is coming out beautifully. And we can see the picture that she draw. We can see her face, her eyes. You can see, if you can compare that eyes with the eyes before that, you can really see a big difference, right? And then she's doing her homework, and she's bossing Dani. That is one of the teachers, and she's bossing Dani around, telling Dani what to do every day, And then she's doing her homework, and then she really likes going to school, right? I think that and that it's still in progress, but I think there is a video now. Even though after tuberculinum, right, she's bossing everybody, she's fighting everybody, but the moment they put the camera on her, she stopped. She really go back to the shyness. So that's been I'm gonna show you that video, but I want to ask the question to the class. What do you think needs to be done? What are you expecting in the future? Because now she's fighting, she's doing everything that is tuberculinum, but whenever we put the camera in front of her, she's just back in again. Okay, I want the class to think about that for the next one. So let me
So
show.
does anybody want to answer that?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that a form of retracing also?
Could be. I don't think that's what he means. April, what did you want to say? So what he means to say is there's a possibility that she will relapse, or that the Barretta carbonica layer will come back up again and she'll need another dose.
Yeah, that's the idea. We might be able to go back and forth because of that. So let me show you that video that if you look after the first dose of Barretta carbonica,
We don't see it somehow. I think it opened a new tab. I think you need to go onto the new tab, maybe.
Oh, are you not seeing it, Julia?
No, we see the link, you know, as
Oh,
blue letters. We're not seeing them. Maybe let people, I send it to everybody. You can watch it in your own
okay.
time on your own computer.
Yeah.
Let's try to finish the third case. Like, I mean, time is up, but let's try to quickly do that.
Okay, yeah. So that was the question, to see what is the future of that case, because she's trying to talk, she's trying to do all those things, and because of the shyness is still there, and then the bossiness, and what are you expecting? And I think that it's almost time. I want to say that the power of homeopathy, what can be done, because we were really thinking that this little girl was on the low level of health, and that she will not be able to talk until the mother said that she had tuberculosis, something like that. That's when we say, oh, maybe there's a possibility. Then we say, oh, she's gonna talk, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's very quickly look at the third case. Sorry, I'm speeding because I think the third case is very beautiful. So this is 24-year-old woman. She's diagnosed by a doctor with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is known to be more prevalent in Afro-American women. So we see it a lot in Haiti. Irregular periods and the typical pains with polycystic ovaries. You can read the intake, right? Like everything that was found. The big thing is like she's 24 years old. The great earthquake in Haiti was 2010, 16 years ago. So at that time she would have been 8. And she found her dead mother under the rubble. So since then, she's in a state of shock. She was 13 years old. That somehow the math doesn't work, but okay, never mind. She was young. Doesn't matter how old she really was. You just have to see again, it's like, if that's what she says, then that's the biggest thing we have to focus on, because it's worse to be stuck in such a state of tremendous shock. And you know, we were in Haiti right after the earthquake, and I saw these children. You probably haven't heard me say it, but like, if I would say to the children, like, in the earthquake, did something happen to you? They would say no. And then I kept asking, and then I found out that 13 of their family members died, and they saw with their own eyes live, some of them being crushed to death. But that was their definition of nothing happened to me, right? So, and they were like in such states of shock. And it's very interesting for me to see these long-term follow-ups now. So then you can ask yourself, so which shock remedy may it be? But if you look up, then, you know, she has fear of the dark and nightmares, and aversion water on the face. So that's all already pointing towards stramonium. Now, we're not even checking if stramonium covers polycystic ovaries, because at this point it's like, who cares, right? It's like, she's 24. There's no reason why she has to be pregnant tomorrow. And if it hurts a little bit while she has her period, so what? This woman is in tremendous, stuck in post-traumatic stress disorder. So she received that. And yes, it cleared everything. That's one of those cases where, like, the polycystic ovarian disease just went away by treating the old layer of shock.
And that's
so
the
you
one.
can read all the details. I'm just trying to.
And that's the one the doctor say. The doctor told her to please come back next month because the machine, there is something wrong with the machine.
Yes.
Be happen. We have to check it again. Something like that. That's that case. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you everybody for your patience with this class format. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's we had more like really crazy cool cases, but we can squeeze them in some other time. So also for you to know more about lachesis and Barrita carbonica. If nothing else, very important for you to know that homeopathy can treat dwarfism, and that, you know, it's like I only had a case like that brought to me once, and that's unfortunately just before I started to seriously learn about homeopathy. I didn't know, and once I learned it, I could kick myself that the woman was no longer bringing her child to me, because I was like, oh man, it would have been so great to help the little guy. So it's very, very important, and not to underestimate the power of advancing. For as long as the body is still growing, the potential of these innate weaknesses to become better or even go away with homeopathy is crazy. So that's why that's why we can only repeat again and again how important it is to treat children. And yes, so I think all of our points vividly came across. So questions to Monsieur Jacquelin, le grand maître de la clinique. Do you have any questions about this?
Good. If there is no question, I think
No,
that.
I do. Sorry, one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just have a question. What would you have done if you hadn't found out from the mother that she had tuberculosis?
Oh, it's a very good question. I think we would have gone with tuberculosis no matter what, because it's really clear. The symptoms really clear in the second one, but we would have a really difficulty to go for it, because once we know the mother had it, we were preparing for tuberculosis to come.
So I can answer that. So nowadays, even if you don't know, you can't confirm, because people don't know who had tuberculosis anymore. It's a lot hidden. The symptoms will clearly speak, and you always give based on the symptom, not based on the knowledge of the miasm. And the symptoms were clearly there, so you would have given it. What would have happened if the mother hadn't told them? They would have asked the mother, did anybody in the family have tuberculosis? Because you see it in the symptoms.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then whether or not she says yes or no, it doesn't change the symptoms. So you still give it based on the symptoms when they come.
But definitely, Catherine, if I didn't really have that, I probably would have gone for lycopodium at some point, because she's also bossy. She's bossy. All of a sudden, she's bossy, and we have it on other remedies. So that's why it's good to really keep asking questions more and more. That's why nowadays it's really sad that we have only 1 hour of session. But in the old days, during the time of homeopathy, we just walk and sit and talk. Okay. And I really feel really bad nowadays that people don't, because they don't think, they don't see themselves so worthy enough to pay 2 hours to pay for something that they're gonna take care of the rest of their life. Because what I'm seeing in Haiti, listening for those people for 1 or 2 hours, you see their whole life. The body is not made to speak within an hour. Forget it. You know, sometimes it's after 55 minutes that the body is really say that, oh, I'm really safe Now I'm really in my area now. I can talk. Okay. It's too bad that the therapy taking another direction, but in the old days, it's after 1 hour, the body's starting to talk. So yeah, if I didn't really know about that, Catherine, I might have gone to other remedies. But even though I did go for other remedies, I would have gone for tuberculosis at some point. Definitely would have come up. That's the beauty of checking the session one after another.
When those symptoms come to the foreground,
Yeah.
right?
If we have, that's a good question.
Okay. So, Catherine, good? You're good? Caroline, you can ask your question. Oops, where are you? We
Yeah.
can't hear you.
Your mic is mute, Caroline. Oh, good. Unmute your mic. Good. Yeah.
Yes. No.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
There we go.
No. Yes. No. Click it again. It's muted again. Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
So my question is about the different explaining, and wanted to understand better. You've spoken about and the emotional and the physical, and if in these different cases that you've seen, if you have identified more layers than perhaps those 3 or 4. How I know that, but just to kind of more fully understand that.
So, right. So this will become very much more clear to you when you do homeopathy too, because I talk about it in there, these layers. So there is no short answer to your question. It's like hours of answer. So I'm just going to ask you to be patient with your studies.
Okay.
Yeah. Celia?
Yeah, I just wondered with the third case, after the cyst cleared up, because she went through such an incredible shock, did you then also work with Nat Muir or something else? Because, I mean, she came with that physical symptom, but obviously if she had seen her mother in the rubble and so on, what would the follow-up?
It's a very good question, because at the end we say we are waiting and doing nothing for the pimples and the skin.
No. The polyovarian cysts, case number 3.
No, case number 3.
The
Case
last
number
one.
3. After the stramonium,
Yeah.
right? We give it to her, and she found out all those things, right? But as she's doing that, she's having a lot of pimples coming out in her face.
No, the
No?
case number 3. Case number 3, the last one.
Yeah, the last 2 sentences I put at the end, I say, the menstruation is gone, the fear of dark is gone, nightmare is gone. She doesn't even remember that she used to be like that. But
Okay.
there's a but there.
You know what, Jimpa? My suspicion is that, knowing the reporting at the clinic, that here case number 1 and 3 got confused, because case number 1 is the one with the pimples, and that appeared in the report.
No, because I was part of that one. Because that one is still ongoing, because
So
she's
you're saying,
yeah.
so you're saying she's also having it move to the skin. So you just leave it alone.
Yeah, have that before.
The progression of healing keeps on going, so you leave the case alone.
Yeah. Because we didn't have that. She didn't have skin problem at all. She didn't come for that. She actually one of the clients who came for the cyst.
Okay.
Right.
So think this is the person at birth, and then life deals them blows and they become all crunched up. Retracing is that you have to go through every stage of the being crunched up.
Right.
You-
It's an
in
unravel.
backwards order to become like this again. And for as long as there is progress and movement, like towards becoming all straight again, you leave the case alone.
Okay. Yeah.
But Celia, I'm sure that if I'm asking that lady question, because this is part of the young Haitian generation, the moment they hit puberty and they start to have pimples, there's a specific thing they buy in the pharmacy in Haiti that's really toxic, and they put it in their face to clear that. And that's usually what brings the whole thing. So I will not be surprised if that she's going to a retracing, but I can ask if she for the next session I can ask you that. I would probably find out that maybe she had that also when she was a bit younger.
Yeah, but I was also thinking the emotional level would start coming out a lot, because if she got back in touch with the initial trauma and the emotions of what happened. I just wondered if she went into that kind of fear, or
Yeah,
just
definitely, probably yes, she would, probably she would, yeah.
Yeah.
For the next
What you expect is things like crying, memories coming out, dreams, like processing it in dreams. That's the typical.
Yeah. I wonder if she had come with that. And the other thing, Jimpa, because you keep talking about the body, Martha Graham, the great dancer and choreographer, she always had this phrase, the body never lies.
That's it. It's true. The body never lies.
Yeah.
The only way you can make the body lie is by just with toxic, with antibiotic and all those things. That's the only way you can shut up the body for years. There is no other way. And even if you do that after a few years, you just. But I want to say that the trauma of that lady, don't forget that you have to read this. She found her mother under the pile of stones during the earthquake. Okay, she was in shock. She was 13 years old, so that's a big shock for a 13-year-old girl. So
that's why I asked the question. Yeah.
Definitely.
I wondered if she came back with a huge amount of emotion. So
yeah, exactly that. You're right. Yeah, exactly that. Wonderful. I think it was a wonderful class, and it's very good to keep it going, because usually I don't see those classes as classes. I'm seeing as having a good time. This is the best way to learn. Just have a good time. So thanks for having a good time together.
Right.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So next week it's vision and hearing, right? And I also wanted to really express my respect and gratitude to all of you. It's also for me, it's annoying to spend every Saturday afternoon teaching class, and it must be annoying for all of you to spend every Sunday morning in class. And I just want to pay respect to the fact that you all want to learn so much that you're willing to give that sacrifice. So I want to thank you all for that.
Wonderful.
Thank you for explaining so well. I love so much all the stories. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Maybe I won't make it next Sunday, so don't miss me if I'm not there.
Okay.
Okay.